He had the voice of a generation, songs that sounded like truth itself, and fame most artists only dream about. But behind the music, there was pain, secrets, and a slow collapse no one could stop. Hank Williams Sr. was on top of the world, and then, suddenly, he was gone. Only 29 years old, found lifeless while traveling to a show he never performed. What really led to his tragic end? And why did the warning signs appear years before anyone noticed? Stay with me. Because once you hear how this story truly begins, everything hits different. Hank Williams Sr. didn't begin life chasing fame. He began life fighting pain. From the day he was born, his body was already working against him. A hidden spinal condition, constant discomfort, pain that never fully stopped, even when he was just a child. While other kids ran, played, and forgot about tomorrow, Hank learned endurance, long nights, stiff mornings, and a quiet understanding that something wasn't right. His father disappeared for years, hospitalized and emotionally absent. His mother carried the family alone, working nonstop just to survive. The house felt heavy, unstable, lonely. So Hank looked for escape, and he found it in music. Church hymns filled the silence. Simple chords softened the ache. Singing didn't fix the pain, but for a moment it distracted him from it. But here's the detail most stories skip. The pain didn't fade as he grew older, it grew with him. Every note he sang carried it, every lyric came from it, and slowly, pain stopped being just physical. It became emotional, psychological, a weight he never put down. This wasn't just the beginning of his sound, it was the beginning of his struggle. And the saddest part? This pain would later be treated in ways that only made things worse. Because once fame entered his life, the pain didn't disappear, it found new fuel. But listen to this. The real danger hadn't even arrived yet. Hank Williams Sr. didn't climb slowly, he exploded, without reading music. Without formal training, just raw feeling and brutal honesty. He sang on sidewalks, outside radio stations, anywhere someone would listen. And people did listen. Radio producers noticed. Crowds gathered. Money started coming in. Almost overnight, Hank went from unknown to unavoidable. Songs about loneliness, regret, love falling apart. They didn't sound polished. They sounded real. But here's the problem. Fame arrived before he was ready. Before his body was stable. Before his mind could keep up. The pain was still there. Every show hurt. Every long drive hurt. So he found something that helped, at least at first. Alcohol. One drink to calm the nerves, another to dull the pain, another to make it through the night. Soon, it wasn't celebration anymore. It was survival. His band noticed, managers noticed, but the crowds kept cheering. And as the applause grew louder, his control slipped further away. He missed rehearsals. He showed up late. Sometimes not at all. Yet, somehow, his songs kept getting better, sadder, sharper, more honest. Almost like the music knew what was coming. Because while the world saw a rising star, behind the scenes, Hank was already slipping. And the scariest part? This was only the beginning, because fame didn't save him. It made everything hit harder. But wait. What happened inside his personal life made things spiral even faster. Hank Williams Sr. didn't just lose control on stage. He was losing it at home too. That's when Audrey entered his life. Magnetic, ambitious, and determined to be part of his success. At first, she believed in him more than anyone. She pushed his career forward, booked shows, managed deals, stood beside him when others walked away. But love quickly turned volatile. Arguments became routine, trust started to crack, and the pressure never stopped. Hank was hurting, physically, emotionally, and now, personally. Doctors gave him pills to ease the pain in his back, strong ones, the kind that quiet everything. At the same time, alcohol was already part of his daily life. Together, they created a dangerous balance, one that made him feel normal, until it didn't. Some nights, he was unstoppable, focused, brilliant, writing songs that cut straight through the heart. Other nights, he disappeared, missed shows, lost control completely. Audrey tried to manage him, guide him, sometimes even confront him, but the harder she pushed, the more he pulled away. And here's what made it worse. The music industry didn't care how broken he was, as long as he showed up and sang, And when he didn't, the consequences came fast. Because the habits forming behind closed doors were about to cost him everything. And listen to this. The warning signs were impossible to ignore. Hank Williams Sr. had what everyone wanted. Hits on the radio, crowds singing every word, a voice no one could replace. But behind the scenes, the industry was losing patience. Missed rehearsals turned into missed shows. Late arrivals turned into complete no-shows. And excuses stopped working. Radio stations fired him. Promoters stopped trusting him. And then came the moment no one thought would happen. He was dismissed from the Grand Ole Opry. This wasn't just a job. This was country music's holy ground. And suddenly, Hank wasn't welcome anymore. People whispered, stories spread, accusations surfaced about his behavior. Some said he was unreliable. Others said he was spiraling. A few still believed he'd turn it around. But listen to this. Even as doors slammed shut, his songs were getting bigger, darker, more painful, more honest than ever before. It was like every rejection sharpened his writing, like every loss poured straight into the lyrics. Friends warned him, legends warned him. One told him plainly he had a $1 million voice and a 10-cent brain. The message was clear. Slow down or lose everything. Hank tried, briefly, but the habits were already in control. The painkillers, the alcohol, the exhaustion. And now the pressure was unbearable. Because when the industry turns its back on you, there's nowhere left to hide. And here's where it gets crazier. Just when it looked like his career was finished, he recorded the songs that would make him immortal. Hank Williams Sr. should have stopped. Anyone could see it. His body was exhausted, worn down, barely holding together. Years of pain had caught up with him. The spinal condition never improved. Long tours made it worse. Every performance took something from him. Doctors tried to help. More prescriptions, stronger pills. Temporary relief with long-term damage, and mixed with alcohol, it became a ticking clock. Still, Hank kept writing. And this is the haunting part. Some of his greatest songs came during this period. Songs about regret, about endings, about not getting out of this world alive. It didn't feel accidental. It felt like he knew. Friends noticed his hands shaking, his face swelling, his energy disappearing. Some nights, he could barely stand. Other nights, he sounded unstoppable. That contrast terrified the people around him. He underwent surgery, left the hospital early, ignored warnings. The shows kept coming. The money was too good. The expectations too heavy. And Hank? He said yes anyway, because stopping meant facing the truth, that his body couldn't keep up anymore. And listen closely, this is where everything turns fatal, because the next trip he agreed to take would be his last. It wasn't a concert, it was a countdown. The weather was brutal, snow everywhere, flights canceled, but the show was still expected, and the money was too big to ignore. So he got into the back seat of a car, not strong, not stable, barely conscious. The plan was simple. Drive through the night, reach the venue, sing, get paid. But his body was already failing. Along the way, he stopped at hotels. Doctors were called. Injections were given to help him through. Painkillers, sedatives, alcohol still in his system. A dangerous mix. He barely spoke. Sometimes he didn't move at all. The driver kept going. Hour after hour. State after state. At one point, they stopped for gas. Someone turned around to check on him. No response. They looked closer. Too close. He was gone. Not on a stage, not in front of a crowd, but alone. In the backseat of a car, traveling to a show he would never perform. Only 29 years old. Later reports conflicted. Some said his heart gave out. Others pointed to the combination of substances. Stories circulated. Questions piled up. But the truth was undeniable. His body had finally said enough. And here's the part that hits the hardest. The concert still went on. The audience laughed when they heard he was delayed. They thought it was a joke until the band began to play his songs, and everyone realized this time he wasn't coming. But listen to this. What happened after his death turned him into something far bigger than a man. Hank Williams Sr. didn't fade away. He exploded into legend. When the news spread, people didn't believe it. They laughed. Thought it was another excuse, another missed appearance, until the music started. His funeral drew tens of thousands. The streets overflowed. Strangers cried together over songs that felt too personal to belong to just one man. And then, something strange happened. His records sold faster than ever. His voice filled radios nonstop. His pain became universal. Artists across generations followed his shadow. Rock, country, folk. Even artists who never met him felt like they knew him, because Hank didn't write perfect songs. He wrote honest ones, songs about loss, regret, love slipping through your fingers. He lived fast. He suffered deeply, and he paid the price. But maybe that's why his music still hurts in the best way, because it came from a place that was real. So here's the question that lingers. Was Hank Williams Sr. destroyed by fame, or was he already broken before the world ever found him? That answer depends on how closely you listen. If this story moved you, if his music ever meant something to you, leave a comment below. And if you want more tragic, untold stories like this one, make sure you subscribe, because some voices never die. They just echo forever.